Well, starting this afternoon's bulletin from here in the capital, Accra, because in the aftermath of the devastating fire that engulfed numerous structures at Circle Ecomog yesterday, the community is grappling with extensive destruction. The blaze, which erupted around 4 p.m. yesterday, has left the residents there in a state of shock and mourning. As they come to terms with the scale of the devastation, they're faced with the daunting task of counting their losses. Many are left in pain and sorrow. Let's take you there right now, assess the situation. As we know, the fire has caused widespread destruction, forcing residents to scramble for safety and salvage whatever little is left of their belongings. My colleague Godwin Asidiba is there for us this afternoon. Let's touch base with him for starters this afternoon. Godwin, talk to us. 12 hours after the devastation, what can you report?
Right, Mawena, about over hundreds of containers and temporary structures here have been wrecking to be totally burnt down to ashes. At the moment, most of the residents here are still trying to salvage most of their stuff. One latest news coming in indicates that allegedly 2 babies or toddlers were burnt to ashes yesterday. One of the stories that I was told had to do with a mother who had left her toddler in the room to go out and access some mobile money before she came back to the premises. The whole space was engulfed by fire. Fortunately, the Ghana National Fire Service team that came here yesterday on time were able to douse the fire. Usually, when you come to fireplaces the next day, you would see smoke engulfing the entire space, but that is not the situation here today. You could see that most of the people around are still trying to go to where that they used to reside to see if they can pick anything little as well. The latest update also is that the Gridco team has also been here to access the whole challenge and know what they will be able to do. From what you're seeing on your screen at the moment has to do with the team and also the head of communications for Gridco, Mampo, who spoke to me earlier. She has said that one of their main cables has been affected, and as a result, it has to fall down. So if the camera should pan far to where other journalists are conducting their interviews, that particular spot will have to be cautioned. It has to be condoned so that people will not be able to go towards that side. And as much as this is an unfortunate incident that has happened, some scrap dealers have also taken up the opportunity to pick some scrap materials here. And those are people who are marching through the mud here at the drainage system, trying to pick up some scrap so that they can be able to sell. So generally, that is the situation here. Over hundreds of people are still seen outside, trying to come to terms with the fact that this has indeed happened. And for those who have lost their monies and a lot more stuff, they are really sad, in pain, and generally is a mood of sadness, if I should say. So Mawena, that's the update here.
Right, you've been speaking to some of them. We can listen to them now, get the indication we cannot do that now. But what's the plan for them going forward? We know in other areas, once the fire has been doused completely, there's no smoke, they immediately begin to want to put back these wooden structures. What is the plan for them going forward?
Right. So just like I indicated, I spoke to the head of communications at Gridco, Mampo, and she mentioned that people living under these cables is something that is gradually happening in the country, and it's something that must be brought to an end. This thing just happened last night, but I would have to go further to the other point. You could see people who used to sell food around coming in at the spot where was burnt, and they have actually arranged their stuff and they are selling. Other people who also used to have their temporary structures around are being seen mounting up goods and all of that. So it indicates that if, security officials are not brought in here to stop these people from mounting back their structures, looking at the risk that it poses to them, maybe from tomorrow next, we might come here and we'll see about 20s or 30s of temporary structures that would be mounted here. So it hasn't put any fear on them. Most of them are trying to bring their structures back, and just like I indicated, it might be happening. Jifa also made mention of the fact that in as much as they are trying to assess the whole situation, some of the residents around who were trying to get the scraps were actually trying to touch some of the hanging cables. Mind you, there's still so much power in it that they would have to have the officials stand around it so that if someone is coming closer, they will have to tell the person that, hey, there's power here, you don't have to come closer. So yeah, that's what they're doing now. She indicated that some officials who are still in the office are bringing in stuff just to caution people so they wouldn't be able to come around that particular premises so that it wouldn't bring any other unfortunate disaster as far as human lives are concerned here. So yeah, but when that is it basically. Yeah.
Right then, Godwin, many thanks for all those details. That's my colleague Godwin Asidiba reporting from Circle here in Accra, where fire ravaged about 100 wooden structures yesterday. From one disaster to the other, Kemeni.
Indeed, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says 3 houses have collapsed due to the flood situation at Guma, Mampo. Over 150 houses were flooded Wednesday night at Guma, Mampo after the contractor constructing the Kaswa Cape Coast Highway diverted the course of the River Ayensu into Guma East District of the Central Region. River Ayensu is one of the biggest rivers in the Central Region, which starts from the Eastern Region and crosses the Kaswa Cape Coast Highway at Gumwa Otreko to the sea. In an interview with TV3, some residents said the overflow of the river flooded their community. Well, we'll bring you that soundbite in a bit, but let's have a quick conversation with NADMO Director at Gumwa East, Robert Nana Hackman. Well, my understanding is that he spoke to us earlier and he described the situation of the road as a risk and a death trap.
What is happening is very simple, but it's disastrous. Yesterday, we had a distress call from one of the communities, that is Adeuka, that their homes have been taken away by the water or the river, that is River Ayensu. River Ayensu is a river that has its bank all the way from Eastern region. So I think it rained heavily over there, and the flow came all the way to Otreko, and that has resulted in the heavy flooding that we are seeing now. Yesterday, as at yesterday, by 10 p.m., we have almost 150 houses, 50 acres of rice farm, 16 acres of fish pond that has been submerged. In fact, it has been taken away totally. Yes, currently we have 3 houses that have been collapsed. But thank God, yesterday when we came, we gave them that everybody should evacuate or should leave his or her house. And thank God they did that. Thanks to the Church of Pentecost and the Roman Catholic Church that gave us their churches that we were able to accommodate those that we evacuated from their various houses.
Judge Queenan is on this beat, is joining us with the latest on this matter. Judge, you are in the area. Tell us exactly where you are and what the situation is.
So thank you so much for being actually at the Churchill. And so, like it's rightly said, so the people working on the Kaswa Cape Coast Highway diverted the River Ayensu. And so it has overflooded. There are 2 bridges on this very stretch. And so it overflooded, and the smaller bridge, of course, has caved in. So as it stands now, if you're traveling from Accra and you intend to go to Cape Coast, this place is unwatchable. You cannot pass through this very place. So what that means is you'll be having an extension of your journey. So let's say if it's supposed to take 2 hours, you'll be doing an additional 30 or 40 minutes track. So that's what it is now. But as it stands now, the bigger bridge has been opened, and so the water is actually passing through that very side now. So the water levels are receded. And according to the minister, that's my good son, by the close of tomorrow, she's sure that the engineers, of course, will bring some sort of intervention and make this route more trouble-free for commuters.
I see. Let's talk about the impact on the residents. How devastating has this been?
Yeah, okay, so actually, economic activities here have halted. The fact that if you're a trader, most of your wares have been destroyed. You can't even go and cook anything. So we'd rather want to sort that out rather than going to engage in any economic activity. And for them, if the contractor had informed them prior to this very incident, maybe some of these things that have been lost would have been salvaged or not happened at all. So for them, it's just communication. liaising with the NADMO to ensure that some intervention is brought to them in terms of mattresses, food, and things. So that's what we're actually waiting for to see if there comes to fruition. For her, it should start coming around in the evening time.
Were there any casualties in, the houses that collapsed?
I can hear you.
Well, I'm asking that we understand that some homes collapsed in the process. Were there any casualties?
There were no casualties, actually. What actually hit it more was the smaller bridge. But the buildings, they were all submerged. But I spoke to, I think, the opinion leader here, and then there were no casualties reported in the process. And yes.
Very well, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much, George. George Queenin is our reporter who joined us from Guma Chereko. We know that the flood situation there has rendered over 150 houses unlivable.
We're taking you to the Ashanti region right now, where we get the indication that the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital has begun rolling out the free dialysis policy by the National Health Insurance Authority. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar reports that patients are excited with the policy but want a subsidy for those within the age bracket of 19 and 59 who are to benefit from only 2 sessions in a month. He's joining us via Zoom right now for a quick chat. Ibrahim, we know that in the Greater Accra region, to be specific, the Kolebu renal unit, it was yet to take place, but it started in the Ashanti region. Talk to us about it.
Well, same story here. In fact, in the morning when we were coming here, management informed us that, in fact, they have received that directive to go ahead with the rolling out of the free dialysis session. So they are starting it today. But when we moved to the renal unit of Komfanochi, we were told by those manning that place that they are yet to receive that directive from management. For that matter, those who come for dialysis session have been billed. So we don't know whether the communication will come later in the day or not. But currently, as I speak to you, from yesterday or June 1 till this morning, all those who have come to Komfanochi Teaching Hospital for dialysis session have had to pay. We know 18 and below and also 16 and above were supposed to have 8 sessions of dialysis in a month for free. Then those who are between the age bracket of 19 to 54 had to get 2 free out of the 8 in a month. But currently all of them are paying. So we are waiting on management. The CEO of Komfanochi Teaching Hospital will be speaking to us shortly on why they had to delay on this and what the way forward is for persons who come here for dialysis.
Right. But Ibrahim, what's been the reaction of the patients to the fact that this announcement by the management of the hospital is not actually playing out when they get to the renal unit?
Well, it's a bit of frustration to them because some of them came here with the hope that they will enjoy the free service. They wouldn't have to pay anything for it. Just to come here and be told by those who are in charge of the renal session that after their session, they will have to bill them. And they know that this is something that government has come out to say. And, with the National Health Insurance, they need not to pay the money up front. So it's not as if Komfanochi has to wait for the money to be paid to it. It's after the month, then they will have to submit their claims and take the money. So people are worried and they are hoping that soon the rolling out will begin for them to also have some sort of relief.
Right then, Ibrahim, we'll leave the conversation here, come back to you for a bit more interesting development there. Announcement has been made by management of the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, but if you go to the renal unit, it's yet to take effect. Same was the case at the Kolebu renal unit as well. The NHIA boss, Dr. Abuaji Da Costa, was there on Wednesday, but yesterday, checks from us here indicated that it was still a service that was being charged. We'll see how that plays out. We'll stay on that dialysis conversation and take you to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Kemini.
Because the free dialysis policy is yet to be implemented at that hospital as well in the central region. The policy was targeted at chronic kidney patients under 18 years and 60 years and above. But patients who visited the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital have been left disappointed as they still pay for their dialysis sessions. Thomas Khan, our reporter in the central region, is bringing us a bit more via Zoom. Thomas, good afternoon to you, but have authorities explained why they are yet to begin their subsidized treatment?
Yeah, Kamali, so the hospital authorities are saying that they are yet to be given that policy direction and the Health Insurance Authority. That is why they have not begun.
Well, Thomas, unfortunately, that audio won't allow us to have the conversation. If you could reposition yourself so that we can speak to you again. In the meantime, let's listen to a couple of the patients that you have been engaging.
I was happy about it, but unfortunately, when I came for section today, I was charged. So that the government should come out and tell us whether it is we are going to pay or we are not going to pay. Because fortunately, I brought money today. Like, how will I react to it? Because who is there told me it is not free. So I've paid money right now. Paid money. Yeah. So the government should realize that aspect of it.
In fact, this announcement, most people were doing 2 sessions or one session a week. People are not coming because of how difficult they find themselves to raise.
Well, and the reason you see Thomas there is because Thomas himself needs dialysis. But he's joining us now via telephone for a bit more on this. Thomas, tell us, I mean, have hospital authorities told you why they are unable to give the subsidized sessions yet? I do not believe Thomas is over the telephone, but clearly at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, just like in Kolebu, patients are not receiving the subsidized dialysis sessions yet. We've been looking into this matter since it broke. At the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, patients are not getting the treatment for free, as has been, announced by the National Health Insurance Authority. I want to show you that in subsequent broadcasts, we have some responses from authorities on the subject.
Well, certainly we will. But we're taking you to the courts now, and the High Court, hearing the criminal case against the minority leader and former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Cecilia Dapaah is set to deliver 4 separate rulings. Today follows applications filed by the first accused person, that's Dr. Cecilia Dapaah, and the third accused, Richard Dapaah. The minority leader has filed 3 of the 4 motions, while the last one was filed by Richard Dapaah. Mr. Dapaah and then Dr. Dapaah are on trial for allegedly woefully causing financial loss to the state to the tune of some 2.37 million euros in the purchase of some 200 ambulances for the Ministry of Health, amongst other things. Let's walk you through what the applications are this afternoon, currently pending before the High Court, where ruling is expected. And so the first is an application for stay of proceedings pending an appeal. Also an application for inquiry into the alleged conduct of the Attorney General and a mistrial as filed by Dr. Dapaah's lawyers. Also an application for an order striking out the charges against Richard Dapaah, the third accused, and an affidavit in support of the application by Mr. Dapaah by the former Deputy Finance Minister. And so the High Court judge seated on this particular case is expected to pronounce judgment on this. That case is being heard currently. We will be in court for you in the course of this bulletin. I'll bring you details as it comes through here shortly. But we're going for our very first break here on News Central. When we return, a bit more stories, including the Volta River Authority announcing that it has suspended the export of power to Ghana's neighboring countries. We have details of that for you. If you stay with us here, please do stay.
Our first story from your election command center. The flag bearer of the NDC is to commission a stakeholder engagement with the members of the Ghana Private Roads and Transport Union of TUC on the reintroduction of road tolls and revamping of the Bus Rapid Transport System BRT. At an emergency national executive meeting with executives of the GPRTU, John Mahama said roads returning in his next administration is a must. Well, we'll hear more from the NDC's flag bearer, but let's have a conversation with a correspondent who's been touring the country with John Mahama. Komla Kluche, he's here with me in the studio. Komla, what else is happening? What exactly does John Dramani Mahama mean with a statement of roads returning to good state?
No, he was saying ostensibly that road tolls. We are aware that as we speak now, the government has suspended the collection of road tolls. We knew, even though the money was not so much of a huge quantum, what they take from road tolls often, they say they've used that in the repair of the roads and then the patching of potholes and the likes. But as we speak now, they suspended that. The Speaker of Parliament, will recall, did direct the Minister of Roads at the time, Ms. Amwakwata, to go back and reverse the decision that has not been done. But in recent time, we are hearing His Excellency the Vice President and also the flag bearer of the NPP indicate that yes, of course, it's something that he's going to do. But we must state that from the very outset, the NDC has been against the cancellation of road toll. They say that some significant amount of money
is being lost.
Yes, and so there's a need for them to have that. But this is the justification that John Mahama has been putting out on why he needs a stakeholder engagement with members of the GPRTU who are major stakeholders when it comes to the usage of roads. They constitute about 92% of the transport unions who use these roads.
I see.
Edwin Bus Rapid Transit System. I low buses about I just and now also we are shareholders of that Bus Rapid Transit. I was here Tribune. Send a bear, you bet me I Bus Rapid Transit. Natimi funny padona na yetimi I contemporary. If you say 24-hour economy na no, you need an efficient bus system. Send a bear and maybe will be a quick maybe I will bet me bus etimiako. Na no yen the buy and so yentimi anye wians and if you are buying road tolls yesika according to the road fund ye DCSA yakwan enti kaneno eno ene di CSA ye de fill potholes near the day if you say okay say budget nkwa ena enye sa de na enye adwuma and so I was say ye hwe se na e beji road tolls na e betimi agi ne yie if you say wo hwe Burkina truck see the way almost see a load do a almost in your market, Nina say a quaint. And so young tools and Tiomofamu, sa normal. And so they troubled and nashe, oh, call a honey hair, I'll bet you at all. And she told me they will see a samba. And so I'll see a yet toll plaza no. Send a bayer Emma traffic and man. Okohu toll plaza, ebia 4 lanes. Now share traffic a fast aquine no so. 4 lanes into me and survey. Traffic na efomuno.
John Dramani Mahama there explaining why the country needs road tolls and how he hopes to expand the tolling system to prevent traffic on obviously high traffic roads. But Komla is still here with us. The GPRTU also spoke while the NDC flag bearer was there.
Yes.
What did they say?
And this meeting was at their instance. They are not pleased with a lot of things. Mention of them has to do with the use of COVID funds. You would recall during the COVID time, the government asked everybody to tighten their belt. There were a lot of sacrifices that they made. Some people, we are aware, have in one way or the other benefited from the COVID and then its imposition of the restrictions and all that. GPRTU this afternoon is asking why people or some interest groups have had some gains of the sort, but they who sacrificed a lot have not been seen to. And this is what the General Secretary of the GPRTU, Godfred Abubere, has been saying.
Comes to sacrifice. I believe all of you remember COVID-19, the lockdown area, lockdown time in March. You remember all? Excellency? All our vehicles were asked to take, not even to have the number of passengers you carry. We did that. We sacrificed. But surprise, there was some kind of a COVID package, and I believe, what's the name? COVID relief program that came. And they gave to others who were not even near the suffering area. And GPRTU was ignored. We heard it and we wrote. And I believe our letter was in the toilet box. I believe so. I wouldn't be surprised. The question is, what is it that we are not doing well that we need to suffer to be recognized?
Perhaps someday some answers will be given to the questions that he poses. But what next for John Dramani Mahama?
Well, quick mention that some of the problems that the GPRTU had enumerated is the fact that since this administration came to power, they have removed them as representatives on the road fund and various boards. But John Mahama is indicating that all those institutions that they had representation on, they would be restored. But tomorrow and then also the weekend, some huge meetings that he would be holding. We are aware of the meeting with the creative arts that will be tomorrow. And also on Saturday, he will be meeting the Canoe Owners Association. These are stakeholders that he will be meeting, even though he's had the first draft of the People's Manifesto already.
I see. Thank you very much, Komla Kuche. Komla Kuche has been traveling with John Dramani Mahama today. The NDC flag bearer met with the GPRTU and has just been sharing some details with us here on News Central. But speaking of the, stories from the Election Command Center, the vice chair of the Muhammadu Bawumia campaign team, Nana Komia, says the vice president has reached a decision on who to select and will make the announcement before the end of the month.
He was given no deadline by the National Council, and I was at the National Council meeting. We told him to take all the time he needed to make all the consultations that he felt he had to do. So, and when you put it in context, our main opponents, the NDC, John Mahama was elected running presidential candidate. It took him 1 year to announce his running mates, and it turned out to be the same person. So even whilst bringing the same person that he brought in 2020, it took him 1 year. But Bawumia has been elected just about 6 months ago, so it's not that late. But I can assure you, in this month of June, he will announce his running mate, or he'll bring a name to the National Council.
Do we know who that is? Because there are suggestions it could be the current energy minister or even the chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology now.
If we know, then there will be no need for announcement. We don't know.
But you say before this month ends, we should have a name for who the vice president's running mate is.
Before this month ends, you should have an announcement. As to who will be announced, we don't know.
Do we know the region the person will be coming from? Because that is what has been described as crucial going into the next elections.
patients.
On your election command center, because the Director of Electoral Service at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Cecilia Dapaah, no longer holds that position. He's been reassigned to head the training department of the election management body. A letter signed by Chairperson of the Commission, Jean Menta, instructed Mr. Kweku to hand over his current responsibilities to the Deputy Chair in charge of operations, Samuel Tete. Even though the EC is yet to name a replacement for Dr. Cecilia Kweku, some reports suggest the current EC Regional Director for the Ashanti region, Benjamin Banabio, could be his successor. Already, social media is buzzing with the news. In a social media post, the NDC's Director of Elections and IT, Dr. Omane Boama, congratulated Mr. Banabio on his appointment. And it is a story that is developing in the last few hours. And the tweet, the post on Facebook is there for you to see. It says, welcome the Ashanti Regional Director of EC, Ben, as a new Director of Electoral Services. Welcome, Ben. Ben takes over from Dr. Cecilia Kweku. He essentially announced the reshuffle along with the letter by Madam Jean Mensah to Dr. Cecilia Kweku, and that's the latest in relation to that. As to what next in terms of these big reshuffle, we'll find out in the subsequent days and weeks. But the NDC parliamentary candidate for Ewutu Senya East and her legal team say they will seek legal redress over the arrest and detaining of their member by the police for over 48 hours. On Sunday, a clash between the NPP and the NDC led to one person being stabbed at the Electoral Commission office in Kaswa during the vote transfer exercise. Felix Nakoyo Okuno says the police has not shown fairness in dealing with the matter.
Okuno says she was invited by the police to its headquarters for having a gun in her vehicle.
When we go back to year 2020 or from year 2019, you would all bear me witness to some incidents that happened in Katswa, where Hawaku Sin pulled a gun on me on 4 different occasions. And I believe that the police have been really unfair to me because no arrest was made, nothing was done, no investigations or whatsoever was made. So I have every right to protect myself with a licensed gun. On Sunday around 11 o'clock, one of our national executives came visiting so that we can go to the grounds and then ascertain the situation on the grounds. Then in the middle of the discussion, then we realized that we were being surrounded by thugs, landguards, hoodlums. All of a sudden, they just attacked my car, my personal car, opened the doors, searched, hit my driver, hit my security, beat them up, and then pull out the gun from my car in the presence of the police where we were having the meeting. So it wasn't like someone was holding the gun. No, the gun was lying in my car.
On the clash, which happened on Sunday, the team says the victim, their member, has been unlawfully detained by the police and will go to court to seek redress on Thursday, June 6.
One of the members of NDC was arrested on Sunday. The police claim a complaint was made against him. However, the facts shows that he was rather the victim on the day. Till now, he's still in bandage with head injuries. Obviously, he cannot be said to be an aggressor. He was the one who was attacked. However, he has been kept in police custody from Sunday till now. In fact, the police have no business. They have no reason to keep him for more than 48 hours. The NDC has not been treated fairly. Today, they told us that they are not inclined to grant a police inquiry bill, but they would rather want to place Osman before court tomorrow. Fair enough. Tomorrow we'll be ready for them in court.
She and her lawyer, Robert Ishmael Emisa, say the police has not been fair since no person from the NPP has been arrested and questioned over the clashes.
In other news this afternoon, Board of State-owned Intercity STC are meeting workers of the transport company over concerns with the appointment of a new deputy manager. The state-owned company has been in the news over the last 48 hours after workers abandoned tools on Wednesday in protest of the planned appointment of a new DMD. For the workers, the appointment is not necessary, hence a demand for investments to turn the fortunes of the company around. Speaking ahead of the meeting, Managing Director of the company said concerns by the workers are being addressed.
It's not an additional appointment. It is a replacement appointment. But the workers believe that we can still do away with that replacement, and they may have a case. The board will meet today, look at the case they have, and then the board would take further action. In fact, the meeting starts in another 30 minutes.
And for the workers, you meet them later today. What will be the communication to them?
No, we are meeting with them today to hear them out. They will present their case to the board, and then the board will look at it to see if there's any merit. There are two things that will happen. The board may disagree with them, and then it's up to the workers to see what else they want to do. Or the board may agree with them, and if the board agrees with them, the board will take further actions. And so we have to just wait and see. We started the meeting at 11 o'clock. So in another 2 hours, you'll get to know. You are an impatient young man.
In terms of the concerns that have been raised, it's come up quite strongly about the wherewithal of the company and how well it is doing. That continues to come up as well. You're the man in charge of affairs. Yeah. How has it been like over the last few years? Because the last time we looked at SIGA's reports, STC was one of the companies that's not been doing so great.
Yeah, because we've had a long period of decline until about 2016 when the government gave them 50 new buses. So in that long period of decline, there's huge arrears built up of provident funds, SNITs, all kinds of. Like I was telling your friend today, these arrears have started 2012, and we are paying back small. But as we speak, we try to be current. For example, with the SNIT, every month we try and remit 100,000. And then the debt that has accumulated over 15 years ago, we ring-fence it and pay it small. So it's the result of a long period of decline. Our major problem now is we need to renew the fleet.
That's Nana Kumia, as the Managing Director of Intercity STC. And we told you about the fire incident at Circle yesterday. Well, the Ghana Grid Company Limited has had cause to issue a press release. You heard my colleague Godwin mention that it had its men or personnel on the ground in relation to some of the pylons which had been affected by the fire incident. There's a statement that's come through from them which reads that the Ghana Grid Company informs the public of an outage to the 161 kV Achimota to Accra Central Transmission Line and conductors following a fire outbreak at the Nkrumah Circle. The affected line has been isolated for safety reasons to prevent the risk of electrocution. The intensity of the fire caused part of the transmission line to burn and snap. Due to the outage on the Achimota Accra Central Transmission Line, residents in Accra Central and its environs are without power supply. Work is ongoing to restore power to affected areas by close of day today, June 6, 2024, while other rehabilitation works for the line continues. Gridco apologizes for the inconvenience caused. That's the latest in relation to that situation, and the light has been off since yesterday as a result of the fire. We're going to stay on the power situation because the Volta River Authority has revealed it has suspended exporting power to Ghana's neighboring countries, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. Director of Water Resources and Renewable Energy, Engineer Abdul Wahab, says though it is at a major revenue loss to the state, the directive has been carried out. My colleague Grace Hamo-Ajiman is joining us with a bit more in relation to this. Grace, what has necessitated the suspension, and do we know since when?
Yes, now, so the suspension is coming on the back of a directive from the presidency in April when the country was experiencing some form of erratic power supply that sparked a lot of concern among the public. The director of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Atachi, revealed that the presidency has directed the VRA to suspend exporting power to these countries so that the country can have enough supply. So today, VRA tells us that since May, they have carried out this directive, and yes, it will come as a major loss to the country because obviously the revenue that is coming from those countries, we are no more getting it. But the authority is banking its hopes on support from donor countries or donor companies, especially the World Bank, to get some funds to fill in the shortfall that we might have experienced because of this suspension.
Right then, Grace, many thanks for those details. We'll come back to you, or there'll be a lot more on this if you stay with us here on TV3. What the losses have been for VRA rather, I should say. We'll get all of that details if you stay with us here on TV3.
In the meantime, 5 individuals have petitioned the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice to investigate former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah for allegedly acquiring assets disproportionate to her income. The petitioners are calling for a thorough examination of Dapaah's finances. The 5 petitioners are Mensa Thompson, Alhassan Kwejo Beju, Bernard Ambeteyela Mona, Ransford Ainchi, and Joyce Aticho. A quick chat with one of the petitioners, Mensa Thompson, who's joined us over the telephone. Good afternoon. What is the end goal in this? Because the special prosecutor and EOCO couldn't prove any illegality against Cecilia Dapaah. So what do you hope this will achieve?
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers. First of all, we want to say that we anti-corruption activists and accountability watchers are not particularly excited about how this whole matter has been dealt with by the appropriate entities. We are also not happy about the seemingly political chess game between the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Attorney General's Department, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, over jurisdiction and who has capacity and mandate to investigate what. If you look at the Special Prosecutor Act, there were certain important aspects of the law which deals with money laundering involving public office holders, which were taken away from the purview of OSP and put. And the argument was that the office of the EOCO had jurisdiction in dealing with that matter. It is, however, unclear how, with all the offices of accountability that we have, with the Attorney General's Department, CID, EOCO, OSP, SHRAJ, and none of the state institutions believe that or seem to have jurisdiction to properly bring closure to that matter. Up to date, we still have no closure to this matter. And so we are looking at this issue from 2 angles. There is a criminal aspect of it, which we believe that the Office of Accountability have failed. What we are activating is the administrative aspect of it involving a public office holder, which the SHRAJ Act and other relevant provisions of our law have provided for how these matters should be dealt with when it involves a public office holder. And so purely what we are looking out for is administrative measures. It may not be punitive enough as they are supposed to, or as the criminal process would achieve, but at least it will set a very good precedent and a future guidance for what has to be done in the future, and public office holders will be guided.
Indeed. Mr. Thompson, I'm afraid we'll have to leave our conversation here. Thank you so much. Mr. Thompson is one of 5 petitioners who have written to SHRAJ to look into Cecilia Dapaah. You're watching News Central. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories, only if you stay.
Hello there, welcome back to News Central. It's a big day for the Black Stars of Ghana as they take on the Eagles of Mali a lot later this afternoon in a crucial 2026 World Cup qualifier. It's become even more important for the Black Stars to be able to win after the Central African Republic yesterday won in their other qualifying match, which means that the Black Stars of Ghana must do it all and make sure that they win this game a lot later today. Well, taking you to Bamako right now, where my colleague with 3 Sport, Billy Shen, is stationed at with the Black Stars of Ghana, find out exactly what the situation is, team camp and the movement and all of that. Billy Shen is joined us right now with a bit more details. Bill, you've been there already even before the Black Stars touch base. Talk to us about the mood ahead of the crucial World Cup qualifier today.
I mean, the fans in Mali are excited ahead of this game. They believe that they have enough firepower. They believe that they have a team that is solid, that managed to compete very well in the Just Ended Africa Cup of Nations, where Mali managed to get to the quarterfinals. And so they believe they have a kind of squad that can easily beat the Black Stars. In fact, after speaking to some fans, some of them are mentioning 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. They believe that the Black Stars are not going to get any goal against Mali. But from the camp of the Black Stars, they are calm. They are very, very calm. And they know that they're going to face a tough task. But there's always that remembrance that in 2009, the Black Stars squad managed to defeat Mali on that same venue that had this match. That was 2-0 for just Samoa and then Matthew Hammer all scoring the goals. And so, I mean, they want to go back into that spirit and then try and get a result against Mali. They know how difficult and how important this game is, but there's that calmness so far ahead of the game.
Right, Bill, we'll hear from the fans, that some of the fans of the Black Stars you've been speaking to first, and then I'll come to you as to expectations of what the team could look like in Otuado's first game since its return. Let's take a listen to what some of the fans have been telling my colleague Billy Shen ahead of the game.
Can beat Mali. Which kind of English you talk? Ghana can beat Mali. We beat Mali already. We go score them, inshallah. Mali, we beat them already.
I strongly believe we can beat Mali. We've done it before. In 2009, we came here and we scored them 2-0. It's something that we can do. There'll be pressure on, if they remember the last time that we came here, what we did to them. I strongly believe today our team is even stronger than what we saw in that time.
Ghana, we can beat Mali. Historical, if you see, if you go head to head, Ghana and Mali, Ghana is ahead. This match is a very crucial match, very, very crucial, because Ghana's qualification this match determines Ghana's qualification. And if you look at the determination and that of the preparation, the whole country is prepared. The team is prepared. The team is ready, because you can see that there's a drastic change in the team squad. There's a drastic change in the team squad.
We need a good results to go back to Kumasi and beat Central African Republic, because this World Cup we must qualify for World Cup.
So some fans there are interacting with my colleague Bill Shen, who's still with us. So Bill, we've heard from the fans, very confident ahead of the game. You've been with the team, you say they are calm. Do we have an indication what the lineup could look like today?
Yes, there is a possible lineup that will be played by Otuado for the game against Mali. It is expected that he goes for his favorite formation, that is the 4-2-3-1 formation. In goal, Lawrence Atitigi. In defense, we have Tariq Lamptey at right back, Gideon Mensah at left back. The centre-back pairing being Mohamed Salisu and Alexander Ifu. For the double pivot in midfield, Thomas Partey and Abdul Salih Samet. In the number 10, Mohamed Kudus, left wing, Jordan Ayew, right wing, Abdul Fattah Ishahatu, and as the number 9, Antoine Semet.
And we know that you've also been speaking to the writer. He's also in Mali as well, joining the team. What's he been telling you in terms of his expectation for today's game?
He feels that the Ghana team currently are underdogs. I mean, it's a totally different team than what he saw in 2009, where Ghana was a very formidable side and was really game for fun. But he does understand that this is a team in transition, a lot of young players in the team, and he still believes that these players are hungry enough to try and get it done. Of course, he understands that we are underdogs. He understands that it's going to be very, very difficult. But he also has that hope that these crop of players, with their youthful exuberance, can come out as underdogs and defeat Mali in Bamako.
In transition, and it's going to be very tough. As soon as the draw was made, every Ghanaian knew that Mali were the favorites in this group, but it's turning out to be a different ball game. Not many people give Comoros any big chance, but Comoros have proven that they can top the group. I mean, they beat us 1-0 in the first leg, Mali. So they top the group right now, and everybody knows the pedigree of Mali. Very, very talented team. So unfortunately, I must say this, this is the first time Ghana is playing against Mali. And for me, we enter as the underdogs. No disrespect to the team, but as a team in this transition.
That's Kunayebwa, is a veteran sports journalist. Everybody knows him as the writer. And earlier I heard me engage my colleague Bela Shen. There's a big game later. There will be all of the details on TV3 and 3 Sports. If you stay with us, that's our bulletin. I am Mawin Aigbeta.
And I am Kevin Yamara. Thank you so much for your company. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.